All right, thank you, Emily. Thank you, Gail. And again, thank you to all of you Zoom members out there that are tuning in once again for our member virtual chat this morning. And of course, is our lions, which is an amazing animal we have here at the Reid Park Zoo. It is an iconic species when you think of Africa. And unfortunately, it's one that is vulnerable. We're going to talk about that. It is facing a lot of challenges right now in the wild. I do want to say that we have a couple more of our member virtual chats scheduled. So there's another one on Tuesday, yet we don't have an animal yet for Tuesday. So here it is. I'm going to throw it out to you guys. What do you guys want to see? What do you want to learn about here at the zoo that we haven't already done? We've done jaguar, we've done giraffe, we've done crocodile, and elephants and lion. So what do you guys want to see? Type it in there. I'm going to flip around this camera because our lions are just coming out right now. So here we go. All right, so I'm flipping around that camera. Rhino, I think we did rhino already, but thank you for putting that in there. You guys type it in there and let us know, and then I'll let you know what it's going to be on Tuesday. And then on Saturday, we have another special virtual chat. This is actually for the public because we are celebrating World Elephant Day on Saturday, also Nandi's 6th birthday. So Nandi's 6th birthday. But right now, let's get into it because we've got our two lions, our lionesses out here. We have Kaya and Neo, and Keeper Kelly has given them some special treats today. And those are some ice treats down there. Now, everyone always asks, how do you keep your animals cool? Squirrel monkeys, I like that one. How do you keep your animals cool when it's so darn hot out? Well, first off, we try to provide them with a lot of shade. So you can see this habitat has a lot of shade on it, and it's designed so that as the sun goes during the summertime, it creates enough shade for them to get out of the sun. And then we have to look at the species. We have to, ooh, anteater, I like that, Joanne. We have to look at the species alone and say, okay, well, what is their native habitat? What are their adaptations to stay cool? Now, of course, lions from Africa, it gets very hot there, so they have similar temperatures to ours here. They do really well in this climate, and lions do like a lot of cats do during the daytime, and they sleep, they hide. Lions are fairly lazy animals. They sleep for about 20 hours a day, so they're only active for a few hours during the morning and the evening, potentially at nighttime, but for the majority, they are conserving their energy by sleeping during the daytime, and they do that here. We also provide water, so we've got a nice water source here for them. Lions don't really like to swim. They can swim, they just don't like to, so it's not like a tiger or a fishing cat or a jaguar who will actually hunt in the water. Lions tend to stay away from it. They will go obviously to get drinks in it, cool down. And then for a lot of our animals, we have misters and we have coolers on them. So there's swamp box coolers that they can go sit in front of. And then some of our indoor spaces, there is air conditioning. So depending on the species, will really depend on what we give them to be able to cool down. But all the animals do really well here. You know, nobody really loves 111 degrees, so I can't say that they love it, but you know, they do like we do. I mean, they stay cool, they stay in the shade. We go swimming during the summertime. We try to do ice pops, which is what they're doing right now. Now, their ice pops are obviously different than ours. These are carnivores, very large carnivores, so they are meat eaters. They're only eating meat. Their dentition or their teeth are designed for eating meat only. And so these popsicles are meat popsicles. So we can take some leftover blood, some chicken, or some of their normal diet, and we can put that in a frozen vehicle, which is, you know, this popsicle. And by doing that, it allows them to stay a little bit cooler. They still get all their nutrients and also stay hydrated. So it's a great way for them to stay hydrated because they're licking these ice pops, which obviously have fluid water into them, and it enables them to stay cool. So here at the zoo right now, we have two lionesses, and we have Kaya. Kaya's on the ground right here, and Kaya is 12 years old, and she's weighing in just under 400 pounds, 392 pounds. And then we have her daughter, which is Neo. Neo's up there. Neo was born here at our zoo, and Neo is 6 years old. So Neo was born on December 23rd, 2013. And she was part of a litter of three, part of a litter of three. So we had 2 boys and 1 girl. So we had Sango and Jelani, and then we had Nao. Now, lions are the only social cat in the world, meaning that all other cats are solitary. Lions are the only ones that will hang out in a communal group called a pride of lions. That's a family. That family is typically made up of the moms, the adult females, and their daughters. And then it tends to have some of the juvenile males. So once those males reach about 2 to 3 years old, the pride will kick those male lions out. At about 4 years old is when they start reaching sexual maturity. And at that time, they don't want one to be competing with their potential dad, who's going to be bigger and stronger than they are. And also, it is a natural barrier for genetic diversity. And so as those younger males go out, they will typically form little bachelor prides. And those males have to get big enough and strong enough to be able to then overthrow a senior male that's in charge of a pride. And so again, what this does is it is a natural barrier in a social grouping for genetic diversity. So we only have Nao here out of that last litter. Sango and Jelani are in a zoo in Austin, and they do not have a breeding recommendation. Now, those of you guys that know our lion pride here at the zoo, you will know Shambae. Shambae was our male lion that unfortunately we did have to put down a few months ago in July. He was 12 years old. He was 1 month from being shy of 12 years old, so he was 11 years and 11 months old. And we had to put him down due to renal complications. And that's complications due to his kidneys. Cats can be prone to renal disease. And about 4 years ago, we started to notice that Shambae's health was declining. At that time, we did our general workup with him and found out that he has compromised kidneys. Well, what do you do with an animal that has compromised kidneys? If it was a human, you would probably go on a kidney transplant list and look for a potential new kidney, or you would have to go through dialysis. And dialysis is what basically takes your blood out of your body, cleans that blood, and does the work of your kidneys and then puts fresh blood back in. Because your kidneys are detoxifiers of your body. That's what takes all of the toxins out. And then, of course, that leads into your bladder, and then we peed out all those toxins. So that's how your body is getting rid of toxins. But if your kidneys are compromised, that can be very challenging, and those toxins can build up. So you have to be able to flush those out. Well, doing a kidney transplant on a lion has never been done. And so we didn't have that opportunity to do that. Dialysis is very challenging because it requires that animal to be under anesthesia for a lion for a very long period of time. And that has to happen almost every single week. And so what we did was we trained Shambae to do voluntary sub-Q fluids. And those are fluids that go right underneath the skin and allow for extra hydration. And by that extra hydration, that kind of forces the body to flush out those toxins at a more rapid pace. And that was very successful for 4 years. It was extraordinary because we had him do voluntary blood draws, he did voluntary blood draws too, but voluntary sub-Q fluids twice a week. For those of you guys that may have animals and take them to the veterinary clinic, imagine putting your dog or your cat up on the vet table, not touching them, and having that vet come up and voluntarily draw blood or give a vaccine or do fluids. That's very, very challenging. So an extraordinary thing that our keepers were able to do, and we were able to get him through his health issues for about 4 years. And unfortunately, in July, his health did decline to a point where his quality of life was not there, and it was no longer responsible for us to maintain his care. And so we had to make that very challenging decision to euthanize. And that's a decision that is very challenging for every single animal that we have. And, it's one that we work with our keepers, our supervisors, our veterinary team, any of you that have had animals that have had to make that decision, it's very challenging, but it's the most responsible thing for us to be able to do in that situation when quality of life has gone down. So we don't have a male lion right now. Now, the median life expectancy for lions, for males, is about 12 to 13 years. Remember, Shambae was 12 years old, so he was right in that median life expectancy. Females is a little bit longer. It's about 14 to 16 years. So females, you guys tend to live longer than us males, kind of across the board except for reptiles. So usually median life expectancy for our females is longer than our males. And that's true with our lions. And that's typically because, especially in the lion pride, at about 11 years old, that male is no longer big enough and strong enough to compete against a younger male that's about 8 years old. 8 years old is typically the prime of a lion's life, that male lion. And so they come in, they're big, they're strong, and they're able to overthrow the reigning male, kick him out. Usually that lion does pass away in the wild, and then the younger male will take over. And again, this is a great way for maintaining the strongest, right? So the strongest survive, survival of the fittest. These are the champions. These are the males that are able to be the strongest male lion out there to pass on those genes to maintain a very strong species. Right now, neither Neo or Kaya have a breeding recommendation. And if you've been with us in the last couple of virtual chats, you know that we work with what's called the Species Survival Plan, or the SSP. And that works with all of our AZA accredited facilities to look at each species and the longevity of that species to determine breeding recommendations. So for each species, there's a stud book keeper. They keep the genetic lineage of each individual animal. So they know where mom, dad, where grandparents, great-grandparents, all those things are. And then we look at, is there a need for lions in other zoos? Because again, once those males reach sexual maturity, they can't stay here. So they have to go off to another zoo, or you have to have a whole separate habitat for them. And so there has to be a need and a place where potentially 3 to 4, which is the size of a usual litter of lions, can go. And if there's not, well, then it's not responsible for us to breed those animals. Because then we get in a position where are those offspring going to go once they reach sexual maturity? And we can maintain a daughter. So Neo was selected to stay here to be a companion and part of that pride. Again, that's what the prides are made up with in the wild. But she did not have a breeding recommendation with Shambae for very obvious reasons. That's her dad. And because of that, because we wanted to keep them all together, we were able to do birth control. So both Kaya and Neo had a birth control implant every year, and that was able to regulate their hormones and have them still be together in a social grouping, but not produce any of our any litter, which is a great way for, again, us to maintain that social dynamics and be very responsible with breeding. And so you see kind of Neo that's going across there. She was sitting by mom for a little bit, and now she's going to explore. And I'm really hoping that they find the jolly balls out there. There are 2. She's looking up at this tree right now. Let's hope she might jump up there. Let's see. Turn that camera. There's another ice treat that's up there. But Kelly has put these jolly balls in their habitat. And if they find them, we are going to see some serious fireworks. Because they absolutely love those things. So now you can see Neo's found that ice treat up there. Now, Kelly has made it a little challenging because there are challenges in the wild that animals have to overcome. There we go. So you saw Neo knock that ice treat down, and they have to use a lot of their natural adaptations. And so we're not just going to put stuff on a silver platter for them. We do ask them to use those adaptations, to use their brain to solve different puzzles. This keeps them mentally stimulated and physically stimulated. She's got it behind there. We'll turn it over to Kaya since we can't see Neo anymore over there. And allows them to, again, bring out a lot of those natural adaptations. Now, lions, of course, are apex predators. They're the largest terrestrial predator on the continent of Africa. They are not the largest cat. That goes to the tiger, to the Siberian and the Bengal tiger. Now I said Kaya is 400 pounds. The males can get upwards of 500, 550 pounds. So this is a very large bodied cat, but some of the Siberian and Bengal tigers can get upwards of around 600 pounds. So it kind of goes back and forth whether or not the male lion or the male Bengal or Siberian tiger are the largest. But for argument's sake, we'll say the tiger is for right now. But this is the largest terrestrial predator on the continent of Africa. And what that means is that these guys are at the top of the food chain, and they are a keystone species for that habitat, for that ecosystem. Because if we don't have these large predators, then the prey can get out of hand. We can see massive numbers of prey, and then they destroy all of the vegetation because they are grazers. And if the vegetation dies, the habitat dies, and then the ecosystem dies. So the apex predators are extremely important in this whole circle of life, in this whole role that an ecosystem or a habitat has. Unfortunately, lions are in trouble. There's estimated to be only about 20,000 lions left on the continent of Africa. And they really only exist in about 26 countries left. And that is 95% down from where they were. And this is a huge problem. Now, right now, the IUCN, which is the organization that lists endangered species and looks at species to give them a code on where their vulnerability is, has listed the lions as vulnerable. Which is, it's hard to really say if that's accurate or not. Now, in East Africa, there are some parks that are doing really well and have thriving lion populations. But in West Africa, these are considered a critically endangered species. And they face a lot of threats. Being such a large predator, they face a lot of threats from human-animal conflict. Because as the human population grows, we need more space. As we take over more space, we need more resources. A lot of the resources in Africa is livestock. And livestock need grazing areas, and they need large areas for them to be able to live. And lions are large predators. So when they see a goat, when they see a cattle, they don't know that that's somebody's resource, that's somebody's property, and they see it as a very easy target, and they're gonna go after and they're gonna kill that livestock. Well, when that happens, the farmers obviously aren't happy. They go out and they kill the lions. And they will go and they will actually cull whole lion prides and wipe them out in entire areas. So this is a major problem, and it's one that zoos and AZA facilities are trying to work through conservation to make sure that we have lions, a viable population of lions left in the wild. We just had World Lion Day, and Reid Park Zoo celebrated that with a fun video. Hopefully you guys saw that. And these days are important to raise awareness about what's going on. So we see that Kaya just got up here. She's looking around. I'm hoping that she's gonna find these jolly apples up in the tree here. Kelly hit them pretty good. They're in palm fronds. And again, we do want them to work a little bit at finding some of their stuff. And so what can we do? What can we do to help protect lions? Well, one thing is being a smart consumer. So we want to make sure to not buy products that are affecting wild animals. And so if it's a product that has chopped down a forest to use palm oil, that's probably not a good product that we should be consuming, and rewarding those companies that are practicing those bad behaviors. Also, we can make sure to not buy any illegal products, because the other thing that's threatening lions is illegal hunting or poaching. These animals, as a large carnivore, are seen as a big prize for hunters, for poachers. And there is legal hunting and there is illegal hunting. Illegal hunting is poaching, and poaching causes severe damage to those populations. And so we want to make sure that we're being smart consumers as we are going out there. And the other big thing, as I keep saying, that you guys are doing right now is you guys are zoo members at an AZA institution that is supporting conservation globally. And so you guys are already doing a huge part to protect wild animals and wild places. Just by you guys supporting Reid Park Zoo here in Tucson, Arizona, you are supporting animals all over the world. We have several conservation projects. Our big one in Africa is in East Africa, Tanzania, in the Tarangire National Park with Dr. Charles Foley, and he has protected over 1 million acres of land and migration corridors, mostly for elephants. But guess what? When we protect elephants in the land, we protect everything else that lives there. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Tarangire National Park this last February before the pandemic hit. And one of the most extraordinary things that I got to see was a lion hunt. So we were sitting there, and all of a sudden out of this bush, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 lions started coming out of this bush, all youngsters and females. And they were looking, and there was a lead female that was out in front, and she was going around, and it was very obvious she had intent. And all the other lions sat there and watched. And she crossed the road right in front of us and started stalking and low to the ground, very iconic stalk. We knew something, we couldn't see what she was stalking. And then all of a sudden we see a warthog. And we see the warthog out in the distance. The lioness does not, or the warthog doesn't know the lion is stalking. Lioness is dead point on this warthog. Warthog finally sees her, takes off running. She runs, takes off around the corner. We didn't hear anything. Most likely it was an unsuccessful hunt for the lion, but an extraordinary process to be able to see how these animals work to bring down prey. Now, that was a single lioness that was hunting a smaller prey, but these animals are able to bring down large prey. We're talking about 600-pound zebra. We're talking about a 1,600-pound giraffe. In some instances, we're talking about Cape buffalo. We're talking about elephants. There are some prides that have been known to take down elephants. These are extraordinary animals that work cooperatively to be able to hunt very large prey. It was absolutely amazing to be able to witness that, but to be able to see the lions and how they work is pretty impressive. And that's why I do this. That's why I'm doing this. And that's why we here at the zoo do what we do, because we want these animals to be successful in the wild. I mean, what is a world without lions? I mean, I can't imagine in Africa without lions or an elephant or any of these species, but you get some of these charismatic megafauna, which is what we call a lion, and it's hard to imagine a world without them. 20,000 is not a lot, and we have to be very careful. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we fight so hard here. You know, our goal, my goal, I always say this, my goal is to end extinction. Well, that's a huge goal, but you know, we have to shoot for the stars here, because if we don't, then what the heck are we doing? So our 2 lionesses here, Neo and Kaya, are ambassadors for all lions, and they are here to inspire. They are here to teach. They are here that we can get up close to and have this intimate connection with these animals that allows us to respect them. And when we do that, we have the ability and the want to protect them. That connection turns to conservation. That conservation turns to protection. And that protection ensures survival of the species throughout generations. And that's what we want. Because look at Neo here. I mean, this is an amazing animal that, you know, we are proud to be able to represent. Now, this habitat, I think I saw somebody talking about this habitat, and do we have plans to change the habitat? We do. We are in phase 1 right now of our master plan, which is reconstruction of flamingo, reconstruction of our front entrance, and the expansion of the zoo 4 acres to the west for Asia, and our brand new World of Play playground. Phase 2 will be expansion of Africa. And we have huge plans for a new lion habitat, one that's going to raise these lions up at really eye level and represent a little bit more of the iconic habitats that you would find them in East Africa, those great kopis, the great trees. And so you will come and really be kind of face to face with lions without glass. Right now we're behind glass, which is a great way to observe the lions, but we want to bring them up in a safe way so that we can really have more of that intimate connection. So that's our plan for phase 2 with our lion habitat. Right now, we don't have a plan to bring in a male. So Neo and Kaya are here. They're doing great. A lot of people ask, well, how do they do, once there's a passing in their group? And there was an adjustment phase. I talked with Rebecca, who's our lion supervisor, and she said that, there definitely was an adjustment phase for the 2 girls, but they're doing really well now. Animals have great coping mechanisms. You've got to imagine that in the wild, these guys, do lose family members, and they have to be able to have coping mechanisms to be able to keep going on. So, they're doing wonderful right now. Kelly is one of their primary keepers and is taking amazing care of them. And we do, as we talked about with Shambae, a lot of training with them. So we don't go in with them. We talk about that with some of our other virtual chats. This is considered a powerful animal. I like that I've changed that from dangerous animal to powerful animal because these animals aren't entirely dangerous if you give them the respect that they deserve. They are not dangerous unless we go in with them. If we go in with them, well, that's our mistake. So this is a very powerful animal. So all the training is done through positive reinforcement through a protective barrier. And that barrier allows us still to train amazing behaviors that helps us to care for them better here at our zoo. So we don't do training for them to jump on balls or jump through hoops of fire or silliness like that. But we ask them to sit, we can ask them to stand, we can ask them to get onto a scale. We can ask them to do a body present, which means that they're putting their body in a specific way so that we can do blood draw training or a vaccine or potentially even check a heart rate. And so those behaviors we're able to train, and these lions are very intelligent and they participate in those on their own. It's all up to them whether or not they want to come over. It's choice-based training. So it's up to them if they want to come over and participate. And they do an amazing job at it. I don't know if you guys saw that a little bit ago, but Kaya, mom, came over and displaced Neo. So you know who runs the family. It's definitely Kaya. And it is kind of challenging to tell the difference between Kaya and Neo if you don't see them every day and or don't know really what to look for. So Kaya is a little bit longer. She's a little bit lankier and has a kind of a more narrow face. Neo, her daughter, is a little bit shorter and stockier with a little bit more of a round face. That's how I tell them apart. I actually have Kelly standing behind me here. Do you have a different way of telling them apart?
So Kaya has a pink nose.
Kaya has a pink nose.
Neo has more of a black spotted nose.
Neo has a black spotted nose. Okay.
She has Shambae's forehead wrinkles. Her forehead gets very wrinkly when she looks at you.
So Kelly, their zookeeper, is saying that Neo has Shambae's forehead wrinkles. So when she looks at you, she can kind of wrinkle up her face, and she has those wrinkles that Shambae had. So those are some great ways. That's funny. I love that Neo has some characteristics from her dad. And as I said, they're doing wonderful. They're enjoying their popsicles right now. They will go after these jolly apples at some point. I'm not sure when. They got to find them. We hit them pretty good, Kelly. So eventually they'll smell them, they'll find them. They do have a scent on them. The jolly apples are a horse toy. And so they have a little bit of a smell to them. And they're stuff that horses tend to bite onto and flip around. But they are one of the most favorite toys that our lions get. They only last about 5 minutes. And so we don't give them out that often because there is a cost to them. We have to go to the local feed store and then they destroy them. But they have the most fun with them. So, you know, we wanted to get them for you guys for our virtual chat today. And hopefully they end up playing with them by the time we close down. If they don't, we do have a lion web camera. Our web cameras are great portals into some of our habitats that allow you to be able to see what our animals are up to. We do have a lion web camera, and even when we close down our member virtual chat, I would recommend trying to get on there and maybe just have it in the background. You guys are hanging out watching TV, because when they get these jolly balls, you're going to see them take off running. And they're a little bit misshapen, and so as they bat them, they kind of bouncing all over the place, and that really kind of hones some of those great agility adaptations that lions have. Just like all cats, they have great eyesight, they have great smell, great hearing. They have those retractable claws. Well, cheetahs don't necessarily have retractable claws, not all cats, but and that's what they're going to be using to bring down their prey to be able to run. And so we try to, again, put out some adaptation that brings out some of those great adaptations, and the jolly balls are ones that definitely do that. And let's see, Kaya there is kind of giving you guys a great look at those eyes. She was just looking at us there. These animals have binocular vision, so their eyes are set in the front of their head, and that's how we typically tell the difference between a predator and a prey. So eyes in the front, ready to hunt, and eyes on the side, ready to hide. So Neo right there is giving you kind of those eyes in the front. And eyes in the front, ready to hunt, that allows these animals to have those binocular vision and to be able to have depth perception. So they're able to tell how far away a prey is and how fast they need to run, how far they need to jump to be able to grab a hold of that prey and bring that animal down. These guys are using power in numbers for our large prey, so they'll go around and they'll bite in the neck or the throat or the back of the neck, and then the rest of the pride is going to jump down and be able to hold on to that prey. So, you know, these guys with those eyes are going to be locking in. Now that you're going to use smell and sound to kind of locate the animal first, and then track. Once they get close, that's where they're going to use their eyes to be able to zoom in and then deliver a killing blow to potential prey, where they're going to be able to feed their entire pride. So we have a little bit of a downtime here in action of our lions. So Emily, maybe I'll turn it over to you and see, do we have any questions that maybe Kelly or I, Kelly's still here, so Kelly or I can answer for you guys?
Yeah, we sure do. Do they have summer and winter coats?
They don't typically. They are going to shed just like all of our mammalians will, but they don't typically grow a thick coats during the winter time and you know, lose that hair. You know, we have fairly mild winters here, which is great because, you know, they typically have mild winters in Africa or parts of Africa that lions are. So they really don't need a thick coat for the winter time. So no, they don't grow like a coat like a grizzly bear will, and then shed that coat for the summertime.
So you said that Kaya was about 12 years old. How long has she been at Reid Park Zoo, and where did she come from?
So Kaya came to Reid Park Zoo in 2009, and she was born at the San Diego Zoo. So again, we work with other AZA institutions to shift and move animals for breeding recommendations. So we had Shambae that came from, where was it? Fort Worth, Texas. Shambae came from Fort Worth, and Kaya came from San Diego. They had the breeding recommendation. They actually had 2 litters when since they've been here. And that first litter, those lions again grew up and they went off to other zoos. A lot of those lions are in breeding programs. And then the last litter where Neo was born with Jelani and Sango, again, Jelani and Sango are in Austin Zoo. So yeah, so she came from the San Diego Zoo and has been here since 2009.
Awesome. Do you happen to know how high lions can jump?
Great question, and it kind of depends on the ability of the lion. So if we had, the Usain Bolt of the lion, that you're looking at potentially a 14-foot leap, and that could be straight vertical. It's probably not 14 feet. Straight vertical is probably around 8 to 10 feet. But if we're leaping across something, we have a horizontal leap of about 14 feet. So the habitats that we design, they have to ensure that those animals are going to stay in those habitats for obvious safety reasons. And so the walls we have to make sure are high enough and don't have the ability for those lions to be able to jump up and to be able to get out. So, they're not typically known for, jumping straight up. We do have other cats that hunt vertically with jumps. The caracal, the serval, those are animals that will jump and grab birds right out of the sky. These guys, again, they're kind of the sprinters. So they can run about 45 miles an hour, which is about the same speed that a zebra can run. And then they're going to leap straight out at that animal. So you've got a 45-mile-an-hour animal that's leaping out about 8 to 10 feet, grabbing a hold of that prey. So they are extremely fast compared to some of the other cats. And, again, they're sprinters, so they can't sustain that speed for that long. And that's where the hunt begins and ends, whether or not they can get a jump start on their prey and outrun them. Because the zebra is going to be able to run further for 45 miles an hour, but the lion can accelerate faster than the zebra. So from 0 to 60, these guys accelerate faster, but the zebra runs longer. So life and death happens in about 30 seconds if they can get a good enough jump on that animal.
And they were enjoying some meat popsicles. Are those something we make at the zoo or buy? And what do they contain?
So those are something that we make, and today they contain some of their diet, which is a raw meat. It's not rotten meat, it's raw meat, so we don't cook the meat. And it's part of their diet, but here is in a different vehicle. So they do get a portion of that, just in the back as part of their daily diet. Kelly froze some in water, so we just take buckets, we put some of their meat in, and we freeze it, and then we can pop it out of there, and they get to enjoy it. Sometimes we will put leftover blood. We feed them cow heart, and we'll have leftover blood, so we can put blood in there. We can put chicken in there. So we do put different types of meat or byproduct in there, the product of the meat, like blood. And then they get to enjoy. So today it was their meat frozen, and we make those here at our zoo. The keepers get very creative every day in their enrichment, and that's everything that you've seen, anything that changes up the day-to-day life of the animal. And so they get very creative in coming up with new enrichment every day for the animals. They'll go into the kitchen and start becoming the chef de boer, if you will, and creating fun stuff for the animals to eat. Diet's such a big part, food's such a big part of our lives, of animals' lives, and so changing it up is really important for them as well.
Continuing with the enrichment theme, so you said that there are some jolly apples in the habitat for them. Can we see those currently on the screen?
You can if you look very closely. So they are in the back. So there's one that's in that tree back there. And what Kelly has done is put it up in the tree and wrapped it in palm fronds. So we have the palm trees there that drop the palm fronds. So there's one that's wrapped in palm fronds right there. And the other one is in kind of the crux of this tree there. You can just see in the back how it looks like a green, kind of mess of a ball. And there's a little bit of a red sticking out. So that is another one. And we always want to have one for each one of the lions because we don't want them to fight over something that they really enjoy. So that's why there's two of them that are in there. And again, they just can't, they've lost a little interest. And as I said, lions are pretty lazy, cats are pretty lazy. And so they're doing what they do best, and they came out and had a little bit of ice treat, and now they're relaxing in the back in the shade. So hopefully eventually they do find those, and we get to see that interaction.
So some visitors to the zoo may have seen one of the lionesses kind of run up to the glass or the training wall and put their front paws up. What is that behavior?
That is a lot of fun for the lions. Yeah, we go back and forth whether or not the lions are having fun with that or it's a teasing behavior. I believe that the lions are interacting with us. They do enjoy stalking us. There's no doubt about it. And now that we've been closed, I mean, everybody, any keeper, any staff member that walks by their habitat, man, they are zeroed in on. And occasionally they will see something or someone that they really enjoy and want to investigate. And a lot of times that can be some of our younger visitors. So some of our younger visitors that the lions see as an easier prey. And so if you're standing there and you're in a family and you have a little guy or gal, that lion may zero right in on that target and potentially even come and attack that target and try and get that target, that child target, whatever. And that's what they're going to do because they're designed to be able to pick out the weakest link. And in a herd of 500,000 zebra, they're looking for the easiest target. They don't want to get injured when they go hunt, so they're looking for the easiest target to be able to go hunt. And that's when we see them usually come after some of our youngsters, which is pretty cool to be able to see, again, that natural behavior play out there. So yeah, if you've been in a situation, had the opportunity for a lion to come charging at you, well, consider yourself pretty cool, pretty lucky that you got to see that lion up close. In the wild, so again, I was in Tanzania in February, and we went to an area that they called the giraffe nursery. And it's where all the young giraffe were hanging out, where all the adults were way away from them, which to me seemed a little odd because they, I thought, power in numbers, the youngsters would be next to the adults because the adults are going to protect the youngsters. And what we learned was that that's not necessarily the case, but with all the giraffe hanging out in the same age, they're the same height, and therefore the predators don't see the difference in the height and can't detect which one is the youngster. So what an amazing way for the prey animal to avoid detection in being a target by keeping all of the animals that are the same height next to each other. So I thought that was pretty cool. Something that I learned in Tanzania, the Arusha National Park, is the giraffe nursery. So Kelly has gone back into the night house, and we're gonna see if we can get the lions to go into the night house so that she can relocate those jolly apples and make them a little bit more obvious for us. Again, this is up to the lions to determine whether or not they want to do that or not. Sometimes they want to come in, sometimes they don't. It looks like they don't. We're obviously not going to go out there with the lions out there. Sometimes we put enrichment out there and it's kind of up to the lion what they do. Looks like Nail might be interested. So, we'll answer a few more questions and see what they do. If we can get them into the night house, then again, we'll relocate those jolly apples so that they're a little bit more obvious for them since they really want to be lazy today. So Emily, do you have any other questions?
Besides meat popsicles, how else do we feed them their diet?
So they have a standard diet that they get every day, and we have feeding chutes that we're able to drop food down into that allows them to get their food and us to keep our fingers. So we never want to hand feed any of our large carnivores. And so everything is done with extreme safety with our lions. We always have a double door system. If we're going to go into the habitat, they have to be 2 doors away. And or we will set their food like we did with our ice treats when they're not in that space, and then we can let them in there. So They got ice treats today. They also will get bones. So we give femur bones and shank bones and oxtails. That again, they get to use those great carnassial teeth, which are the molars that are in the back of the lion's mouth that allows them to be able to crunch down on those bones and to be able to sever flesh away. So, ooh, it looks like, oh, wait, oh, Nails found it. Nails found it over here. Take a look. She's looking at it. She's looking at it. Come on, Nail. You can do it. You're a youngster. Don't make your mom do it. She's looking at it. She knows it's up there. Oh, Nail. I tell you, you know? You buy a toy for the animals and they play with the box. Typical cat, right? Any of you guys have cats out there? Typical cat behavior here. Oh, I love it. And again, sometimes we'll put like the most amazing enrichment thing out there. We'll be like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna so love this, and then they do nothing with it because, yep, that's cats. Very typical for cats. Yeah, you guys know that have cats. Oh, too funny. They will play with it eventually, but man, they're just being a little stubborn. So, all right, Emily, you got another question?
Yeah, I think this might be our last one. Besides the ice treats and the Jolly Apples, what other kinds of enrichment do we put out there for them to kind of help them use their natural behaviors?
Yeah, so the Jolly Balls is one of them. So even though they're not playing with them, the Jolly Apples are one of them. And then we'll do Boomer Balls. There's another toy that's out here that has peacock feathers in it. And we'll change up the enrichment and the substrate. So there are some logs that are out here. One of the things that we'll do with lions is we'll take prey poop and we'll put the poop in the habitat. So poop from our zebra, from our giraffe, from our rhino. And what that does is it brings out, again, a lot of those natural behaviors. Lions will roll in prey poop to get that scent and that smell on them. So yes, I know it sounds gross, but if you're a lion and you're hunting a zebra, if you smell like a lion, the zebra is gonna know and the zebra is gonna run away. If you're a lion and you're hunting a zebra and you smell like a zebra, well, now you can get a little bit closer to the zebra and you can sneak up on that animal and they don't know, and now you can attack. So we'll put prey poop out there, and that's another great enrichment for them. And sometimes we'll change up the toys too. So those new toys may have an anteater smell or an elephant smell. So every day, all the animals, but the lions, are getting something different, something new, food related, scent related. Could be a spice, could be perfume or cologne. They're getting something that's trying to bring out those natural behaviors. And a lot of times for the cats, the keepers, again, put out all this fun stuff. Like, oh my gosh, they're going to do amazing things. And sometimes they use it, sometimes they don't. But it's still, the role and the passion of each keeper to give the animals the best day that they can. And so, today these guys have kind of a jam-packed habitat, but tomorrow they're going to have a jam-packed habitat too. So, they get a lot of different enrichment items. So, what do you think, Emily? Are we kind of at our time here?
I think so. So did you have any last parting words for us?
Yeah, so I just want to again thank you guys for joining us today for our virtual chat on our lions. Such an amazing animal that definitely needs our help. So thank you guys for being a Reid Park Zoo member. Thank you for joining us and learning a little bit more about lions today. And as we're going to leave, hold on, because Kaya is going to go for it. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Getting video going. Don't leave yet. Kaya is up in the tree. See, she just needed us to leave. Don't leave yet. Kaya is up in the tree. Nail is coming over. Here we go. Finally, after an hour, these guys. So she's, no, don't give up on it, Kaya. Come on. We've talked you up. We've talked this up. So she's going for it. She knows it's up there. And Nao's going to come over and investigate also. So hold tight. Let's see if they're going to do anything. Again, lazy lions. Come on, Kaya. There we go. There we go. She just needs to get it down. Okay, so she's got it down. Once she figures out that this is a jolly apple, like we're gonna see. So she's smelling it there. It's hard to see on the camera, but you can see that Fleming behavior. Fleming is where, so she's got it in her mouth right now. She sunk her teeth into the jolly apple. Now I feel like a sports broadcaster. We're doing play-by-play here. So Neo's fast in totes, but keeping her distance. She's got it out. So she's got it out of the palm fronds now. She's on the other side of the habitat. I don't want to run around there because by the time I do that, they may bat it around. We might run around there. But she's over at our other window. So hang tight. Let me get my equipment here. Thank you guys for staying on with us. If you do need to leave, I won't fault you for it. We've been here for a little bit. I'm gonna run around to the other window. Stay with us. Here we go. We're gonna see if we can get up close to our lions on this side, traveling with us here. Okay, all right. Yeah, you guys spotted me, it's okay. This window has definitely some lion scratches on it, so that's what you're seeing. That's why I was over at the other window, because this one is not as good. Well, and now you know why they have lion scratches on them, because of that. This is where they like to come up and grab us. Oh, but when she did that, did you see in the behind? So this is Kaya right here, and right behind her, Neo stole that jolly apple. So she took the moment to steal the jolly apple. She's got the jolly apple over there. Oh, Kaya, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it. Yep. So we were just talking about that. When she sees something that she really likes, she's gonna come up and say hi. So that is Kaya, and Neo took that jolly apple. Kaya's just realizing right now that the jolly apple is gone, and she may go look and steal it from her daughter over there. A lot of times, again, they bat these things around, and it's a lot of fun. But it's again all up to them on what they do. We're gonna see here. All right, well, we don't have the best angle right here. Kaya is now playing with these palm fronds because they had some scents on them, some scents and smells. This camera angle is kind of bad right here. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see the palm fronds. Yeah, seeing Kaya up close was very exciting. I'm glad you guys stayed on for that. Hopefully everyone stayed on, or those of you guys that did stay on, hopefully got a pretty cool view there of an attacking lion. And I've been charged by these guys a lot that it doesn't typically faze me. But, when I first started here, I was a keeper. 15 years ago, I started as a zookeeper, and I took care of the lions that we had back then. That was Katabu and Tatu and Bali. And I remember as a keeper going back and, listening to them roar in their night house. And the roar is just an extraordinary thing to be able to witness and hear. It goes right through you. It reverberates the ground. Lions have this amazing roar that communicates with other lions that are out there. Typically, it happens as the sun is going down, as it's cooling, and that's when the sound travels the furthest. And that roar is, a sign of power. So the louder the roar, the bigger the pride, the bigger the male lion. And, it's a sign that tells all the other lions to stay away. So there you go. So you got Neo in the back now that's puncturing through that jolly apple. Usually they'll bat it around and it starts bouncing all around and they go and attack it. But again, it's a warm day today. So just like us, these guys are not going to, expel a bunch of energy if they don't have to. Oh, there we go. She bats it around and then it's like, oh, I'm going to get you. It's like, how did you move? So typical with cats. They tend to play with something and then kind of, or like, what did I do? What was that? So, all right, guys. Well, again, we do have our web camera that is up, so you guys can go to reidparkzoo.org, and the web camera is up. You guys can take a look at our lion habitat with our Jolly app. Oh, see, now every time I try to get off, she's gonna start playing with it. I tell you, you know, these cats. Oh, there she goes. That's all right. Well, you know, just can't win with these guys. They are just being too cool. I'm gonna actually see if we can get this view. Let's see. All right, so that's kind of cool. A cool view there too. All right, guys. So we miss you guys too. We're gonna sign off here, and again, thank you guys for being a part of Reid Park Zoo, our zoo members. We miss you guys, and as always, I'm Jed Dodds, bringing the zoo to you. And stay wild, Tucson.